before I start my speech, I already have 3 standing in the audience. That's a good sign, I think. Oh.
Black power.
I remember 3 years ago at convocation watching the then President Aiden give his speech, and while I don't remember a single word of what he said, I do remember a dangerous thought passing through my mind, and I thought to myself, perhaps someday that will be me. Perhaps someday I will give that speech. And I quickly brushed that idea aside because after all, I liked the sciences and pre-med was where it was at, so I would leave the politics to others. And then Quest happened. And Quest seems to have a way of changing the focus for a lot of people, and indeed it changed for me. And it is perhaps ironic that I first got involved with the SRC because no one was running for the position of president-elect. A position that doesn't exist anymore, but would have led to president. And no one was running for this position, so I thought I would toss my hat into the ring. At which point the then SRC decided to cancel elections, sparking the greatest scandal the SRC has ever seen. And indeed, they then recalled elections and canceled them again. We rewrote the Constitution, changed the ministerial positions, and created the SRC that we have today. But there is one marked difference. Following all that controversy, we had a full slate of candidates, of excellent candidates for all of the positions. And we had a turnout of, oh, I don't know, 3 times as many people as are here tonight, out of a student body roughly half the size. And I remember after that election, we all bragged to ourselves that we had in fact had more students cast votes than at the University of Manitoba's student government elections. Not percentage-wise, but actual votes. Kind of impressive. I'm not sure whether we'll pull that off this time. So something has gone wrong, something has gone amiss, because I should not be running unopposed for the coolest position at this university. Something is missing there. Now, I've never made election promises before. Last year, I ran saying that important issues were providing services, such as Whistler shuttles and events, things that I think are important. I ran saying that I would get rid of queue hours, but not so much as a promise, but as a priority. And indeed, we did get rid of queue hours. And I also highlighted the importance of making sure that the SRC was a voice for students with administration. And I'm proud to say that I think that's happened. It is now standard procedure for the university that whenever they are making a major decision, they talk to the SRC. Not necessarily as a collective body, but to whatever minister is in charge of the area that is affected by what they're doing. So I regularly get emails from David going, hey, I'm thinking of sending this out, what do you think? Hey, we're thinking of changing this, what do you think? And I think that's important. But as proud as I am about all that I think this year's SRC has accomplished, and indeed I think we've accomplished a lot, we have missed one thing, and that is getting more people involved. And so, for the first time, I am going to make an election promise. And I promise, whether you elect me or not, you can vote no, I'm still going to do this, that I will do my best to convince more people to run. So that next year, because I will not be running, I'll be graduating, next year, I hope to have a full slate of candidates running for the coolest positions on the SRC. So I hope that you will consider voting yes. Because remember, there is no no and Eno.
I'd like to start by apologizing. I did not wear a suit. In the future, I will. Hello. Thank you for showing up. As you can see, we are not the actual full student body, but there's some of us here. That's a good first step. I am Anna Littman. You may have heard of me. I've been going to school for 3 years, and in that 3 years, I've developed a deep love for Quest, which is probably why I'm still here. This is Quest's 5th year, and it is a baby in the world of universities. But I have faith that it will grow into becoming a model for all other schools. The greatest thing about going to a young school is that we as students have the ability to help shape and mold what Quest is and what Quest will become. Only at this school do students have such administration, but also gather consensus in student matters and deliberating a lot in what goes on. The SRC does fantastic things, in case you don't know, but you should because they have tons of dances. Dancing Bear is free this year, so they listen. I think the SRC is a fantastic body that we have at this school. I also think that there's a deep disconnect between the student body and the SRC. This disconnect is pretty evident just by looking around this room. Not many of us are here. Students are pretty busy at this school. We have lots of things to do, and we don't always care about everything happening around us. I care about student government, and I think that I have the enthusiasm to counteract all the apathy at this school surrounding student government. I think that every person in this room, and even upstairs in the cafeteria, has something valuable to say about what they want to see, and I want to hear it, whether or not you have time at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night to show up to a kind of boring meeting. I think that the SRC does so much more than just give money to clubs, and I want everyone to feel like they aren't being left out of student politics. I know that this isn't an extravagant platform filled with many campaign promises, but I don't want to start giving you promises before you've even elected me as vice president. If elected, I want to show you by my actions and not by the promises that I make to you right here, right now. Because anyone can make promises, but follow through is something that not a lot of people have. If elected, I can promise you accountability not only for myself, but from other ministers. I can also promise you efficiency and follow through on everything that I do plan to undertake as vice president. I think that being involved in so many facets of Quest already, I know a lot about how this school works, and I have an understanding about how things get accomplished at this school. I want to put that into action in the student government. I don't want the SRC to become my vision, but I want to use my skills to help it become our vision. After all, who else is going to keep Dustin in check, right? Thank you.
Good evening, fellow students, and thank you for attending the debates tonight. For those of you who don't, and I think most of you do, my name is Trevor Manning, and I'm running for the position of Vice President. This year, the SRC has done an excellent job of providing for the students, and I would like to continue this if elected next year. I have the experience and creativity to bring the SRC at Quest to a new level. If elected Vice President, I will ensure accountability within the SRC. As the SRC makes decisions that often affect a large number of students, I want to be sure that the decisions being made have the lowest negative impact possible. This means planning ahead and considering the student body as a whole before decisions are made. I would also like to make certain that the SRC is responsible financially. With a budget in the tens of thousands of dollars, it is critical that the money is allocated in a wise and fair manner. If it is the students' money, and it needs to be spent in a way that will benefit the largest number of students. As some of you know, I created an ice cream store in 2008, and since then, it has become one of the largest scoop shops in the entire area. This is partly due to the demographic of the area, and partly due to the planning and the execution of the business. Having owned a business, I have the knowledge and experience to be certain that the SRC is making financially responsible decisions. Although I'm not currently on the SRC, I have attended every single meeting since the beginning of the year. I feel it is important to be an involved member of the student body, hence my running in these elections. I want to continue to be as involved as possible. As you can see, I have the experience, responsibility, and creativity to create an environment at Quest in which students can enjoy themselves. I'm here for you, the students. Vote for experience, vote for new ideas, vote for responsibility and accountability. Vote for Trevor Manning. Thank you.
This is for everyone. Obviously, it's very important to continue to expand Quest's relationships with other Canadian universities and regional universities. I was wondering, do any of you have specific plans or agendas for how you might carry that out if you were elected to a position? Obviously, the Minister of External Affairs takes over some of that role, but as the legislative authorities of the SRC, you're also very responsible for its image amongst other universities. So do you have any ideas for how we could establish stronger ties with other schools in Canada, learn from their student governments, anything of that nature? I don't know how you want to respond.
I think that as the SRC did earlier in the year, attending the conference on leadership helps to create those connections with the other universities, and I think it serves as a starting point for possibly visiting other schools and seeing how their governments are run, so that we can improve on the already fantastic SRC.
I think that one really good way to start getting a relationship with other universities isn't necessarily through the SRC, but through the clubs, which are funded by the SRC. So I know Dustin and Yvonne are doing QMUN, and this year they're only trying to bring high schools. But hopefully in the future they could bring more universities. I know that Isha and Jamie and I and some other people that do Word are looking to join the Canadian University Press. So that puts us in touch with other universities as well. And I think it would be best if we started at like the ground level with clubs, just because our student government isn't necessarily on par with student governments at University of Manitoba or something like that, right?
I'm not sure I would agree we're not on par, but I would agree. We're not paid, that's true. But I would agree up to that point with a lot of what was said. I think there's also just the personal connections, and I regularly exchange emails with a couple of the student government representatives from Capilano College. I'm in contact with people from Langara, from UBC, and I think that we need to continue to cast that net wider, because as much as we can officially be interacting, those 11 at night Facebook conversations where we discuss the problems that our various schools are facing are arguably much more important to building those connections.